Hello there, a very good evening and welcome to another edition of Primetime News on TV1. I'm Charlotte Benedict for the Newsfirst team.
And I'm Naveksha Gunasekar, and here are your headlines for tonight.
Health sector falls into crisis after government decides to grant allowance to doctors. Multiple trade unions on strike. Opposition leader questions reason to spend 250 million to deploy naval ship to the Red Sea. Chaminda Vijayasiri quits parliament. SJB to replace him with Vasala Tilaka. Ranil is the non-partisan presidential candidate, says former Minister Ravi Karnanayaka. France gets a new Prime Minister.
Starting off with a look at those stories in detail, Sri Lanka's healthcare system is on the brink of a major crisis once again following a strike by the paramedic associations today.
Now, the action comes in response to President's recent decision to grant doctors a substantial allowance increase of 35,000 rupees, fueling resentment and demands for pay parity from other healthcare professionals.
Now, Viksha, adding to the concerns that have come about by this crisis, other health unions have also announced plans to join in the strike tomorrow, escalating the situation further.
Sri Lanka's healthcare system is facing widespread disruption following a wave of strikes by various medical professionals triggered by a recent decision to increase doctors' allowances. A catalyst for the unrest is a cabinet decision announced yesterday granting doctors a hefty 35,000 rupee bump in their duty interruptions, attendance and transportation allowances, bringing it to a total of 70,000 rupees. This move sparked immediate discontent among other healthcare workers, including paramedics, lab technicians, pharmacists and radiologists, who also demanded a similar 35,000 rupee stipend. The Association of Paramedic Professionals and other unions resorted to strike actions today, impacting operations at numerous hospitals nationwide. While essential services like kidney, cancer, maternity and children's hospitals remain largely unaffected, the disruption in general hospitals is causing significant hardship for patients. Reports indicate major disruptions in key facilities like Colombo National Hospital, Gampaha District General Hospital, Kurunagara District Hospital, Mathura District General Hospital, Karapitiya Teaching Hospital, Badula Teaching Hospital and the Kandy National Hospital.
Plastic gidala dan kira le ganna halu strike. Okkoma apita thamai mahattaya.
Kiya kiwasakena tracking doona. Me rajya කරන දේවල් වලට මිනිස්සුන්ට කණ්ඩ විදියක් නැහැ බඩු මිල ඉහළයි. ඉතින් මිනිස්සු උල්ටි අයිසිකම් සටන් කරන දේවල්ට අපි ටිකක් හිරියර ඉඳලා තමයි. ඒ වුණාට ඉතින් මොනා කරන්නද?
පාලකයෙක්ගෙන් අහන්න ඕනේ රටට මොකද වෙන්නේ කියන එක. ඉතරයි මට කියන්න තියෙන්නේ. දැන් අපිත් රසාවල් කරලා අපිට රසාවක් කරලා කිසි දසබහක් ඉතුරු වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එදා වේල කන්න බොහොම අමාරුයි අපිට. කරන්න පුළුවන් මිනිස්සෙක් ඉදිරිපත් වෙන්න ඕනේ එක්ක නේද? මේක කරන්න බෑනේ හැමදාම බෙහෙත් ටිකක් ගන්නවම බෙහෙත් නෑ. සල්ලි තියෙන අය ගන්නවා. සල්ලි නැති අපි කොහෙන්ද ගන්නෙ?
අසරණයි මම. අපි වාගේ මිනිස්සු වලට මේව කරන්න ඕනේ නෑ. බෙහෙත් දෙනවා කියලා කළා බෙහෙත් කිසිම දෙයක් නෑ.
පොඩ අපිට වෙන අසාධාරණේ කවුරුත් හිතන්නේ නෑනේ. ડોක්ටර්ලාට පඩි වැඩි වෙච්චාම නර්ස්ලා ස්ට්‍රයික්, නර්ස්ලාට පඩි වෙච්චාම දොස්තරලා ස්ට්‍රයික්. ඒතර අපිට වැඩි වෙන්නේ නැතිවට මොනවද කරන්නේ? අපි ගැන කවුද බලන්නේ?
කිසිම කෙනෙකුට මෙහෙම දෙයක් වෙන්න එපා කියන්නේ එච්චරයි. වැඳලා කියන්නේ අහිංසක මිනිස්සු හිතන්න කියලා.
මේ අපිට කණ්ඩවත් හොයාගන්න නැහැ. එදා වේල කන්නේත් අපි බොහොම අමාරුයි. අපි බෙහෙත් ටික ඉතින් ගන්නේ කොහොමද මෙහෙම කරනකොට? මහයුන් ඔක්කොම රට විනාශ කරා. අපිත් මරලා දාන්න තමයි මෙහෙම තියෙන බෙහෙත් නොදී අපි මරලා දැම්ම නම් ඉවරයි.
The president of the Joint Council for Professionals of Supplementary Medicine, Ravi Kumudesh, explained the root cause for the issue. Yesterday they took a decision to provide economic justice for medical personnel. We are very happy about that. But we are very sad that other health professionals and staff were left out in the pursuit of economic justice. Therefore, the amount of 35,000 rupees given to the medical officers for economic justice should be applied to paramedic professionals in the same way. Never before in the history of the country has a cabinet of ministers taken such a unanimous and unfair decision regarding healthcare. We request the doctors, including the Government Medical Officers Association, that this is not a struggle with you. But you now have a duty and a responsibility in this. Come forward to do justice to the health professionals and staff in this country. The All Ceylon Nurses Union warns that this situation leads to a division among health workers. We see it as a deliberate act of the government to give an allowance to only one group of workers in this way, because the government has been working to create discord in the entire health service. If the government is bringing this as a game, then we will take action against this by mobilizing all other health staff, including the nursing staff. As the Joint Front of Professions Supplementary to Medicine, a coalition of 10 healthcare unions announced plans to join the ongoing strike tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. for a period of 48 hours. However, the Government Medical Officers Association has expressed support for the decision to increase doctors' allowances, viewing it as a positive step. At the moment, we see that the government has taken some steps to achieve economic justice in this economy. As the Government Medical Officers Association, we see this as a positive step. This is seen as a positive because we said, give a reason to the doctors of this country to stay in this country. Give them something to look forward to. So at this point in time, we are very positive and optimistic about this salary increase.
Over the past year, the Government Medical Officers Association, partnering with a coalition of 40 other professional organizations under the Professional Trade Union Collective, launched a campaign to demand the reduction of unfairly levied personal income tax, arguing that its structure placed an unfair burden on the professionals. They argue that the sharp rise in personal income tax from 6% to 36% for incomes exceeding 100,000 rupees was driving a worrying trend of professional immigration and jeopardizing Sri Lanka's skilled workforce. In a cabinet meeting yesterday, President Ranil Wickremesinghe approved a 25% increase in the allowance for university professors effective January. Notably, university lecturers were very active in the recent tax protests alongside medical professionals. The government has implemented measures granting special privileges to two key groups within the Professional Trade Union Collective, while the Government Medical Officers Association has welcomed the allowance increase as a positive step towards addressing their concerns. The Federation of University Teachers Association remains tight-lipped. The Executive Council meeting tonight, scheduled to address various pressing issues, will also include a dedicated discussion on the government's recent decision.
Instead of amending the payee tax, the government is engaged in a culture of offering new incentives. This is like offering carrots. If the government assumes that such measures will undermine the efforts taken by us against the unjust tax regime, we warn that it would never happen. This type of offerings are not the solution.
This was the response given by the cabinet spokesperson.
The allowances were increased for professors and specialists. That is capital, not labor. If they are caused any form of justice, that will impact society. If we fail to address their issues and if they migrate, it is a tough situation.
Meanwhile, while increasing the allowances of doctors and university teachers, the President informed the Cabinet yesterday that 5,000 rupees will be paid from the 10,000 rupees allowance agreed in the budget to the government employees from January. Decisions were taken to increase the allowances in relation to three parties by imposing 18% VAT on more than 90 goods and services, and 3% VAT was increased for a number of other goods and services. The government expects to increase an income of 1,450 billion rupees from VAT. Income tax of 6% to 36% still has not been paid on income above 100,000 rupees. A portion of the revenue generated by the government through such schemes has to be used to increase the allowances to the selected parties. Former Finance Minister Ravi Karunanayake expressed his views about this today.
Now, why did they increase the VAT by 3% today? It was increased to pay salaries to the 1.7 million government employees. 3% is increased and the total of 146 billion rupees will go to the government to pay their salaries. Now, there is the question whether it will be productive for us or not.
Meanwhile, former parliamentarian Ashu Marasinghe says that the opportunity to increase allowances arose due to the planned management of the economy.
All these things were possible, especially through the collection of government revenue. We were able to create a primary balance of more than 50 billion primary surplus this year. That's why we were able to bring salary allowances and increases that we had previously planned for the end of 2024. So this shows the skill of the Honourable President as the Minister of Finance in his economic program.
A protest organised by the Jatika Janapala Vegya against the VAT hike was held in Anuradhapura this morning.
The protest was held under the theme, quote, opposing the government, oppressing the people by increasing VAT, end quote.
134 goods were exempted from VAT before 2024, but when the Ranil Rajapaksa government presented the 2024 budget, 97 were removed from the 134 exempted items. Today, children are unable to afford school books and equipment. And on the other hand, 18% VAT has been levied on the raw materials used to manufacture medical equipment. In particular, the farmers across the country, including the Anuradhapura district, were seriously affected due to the VAT hike. Now that the Maha season is coming to an end, the government, including Ranil Wickremesinghe, has levied 18% VAT on agricultural equipment and agricultural inputs. A bag of fertilizer was exempted from VAT and the blade of a spade was also exempted. Now, agricultural inputs and equipment are being included in the VAT. Although they allocated funds for Ranil through the budget, have they allocated anything for the people? Wages did not increase, allowances were not increased. Private sector employees, self-employed citizens and the ones who earn low incomes are unable to purchase books for their children. Are they attempting to take Sri Lanka back to the Stone Age?
Newsfirst with the people.
Former Minister Ravi Karunanayake states that President Ranil Wickremesinghe will contest the presidential election as an independent candidate.
An independent candidate will be nominated. We hope President Ranil Wickremesinghe will win this election, beating all other parties. Regardless of what happens today, President Ranil Wickremesinghe will win the presidential election by at least one vote. We need everyone to support us collectively for this. That is what we are going to take forward in a wider level.
Professor Charita Herath called a press conference today representing the Freedom People's Congress. The members of the alliance represented by them, Professor G.L. Pires, Dr. Nalaka Godheva and Dilan Pereira have already expressed their support to the Samaki Jana alliance.
We believe
that this next political change can only be done through a program that can defeat Ranil Wickremesinghe's political and economic strategies. This was the topic of discussion of the Freedom People's Congress. Are we going to implement a program like this and search for a new candidate for presidential elections, or whether to go ahead with an existing candidate without any such program? This is the conflict that different media channels report in different ways. No, that is not the issue. Whether Wickremesinghe's program will be defeated or not is the real question. So if Wickremesinghe's program cannot be defeated, there is no point in joining the SJB.
Red Sea Crisis.
Leader of the opposition Sajid Premadasa questioned in Parliament today the basis on which the Sri Lanka Navy is deploying its vessels to the Red Sea to combat Houthi rebels. State Minister of Defence Pramita Bandarathenakone responded to the opposition leader's query on behalf of the government.
රටේ සමස්ත ලක්ෂ 220ම ඉමහත් අගහදයකට පත් වී තිබෙන මොහොතක
How will Sri Lanka stand to benefit by sending a naval ship at the cost of 250 million to counter Houthi rebels at a time the entire nation is in an abyss? If we are making a sacrifice of 250 million, the least the international community can do is to reduce that from our debt.
අපි ඔබගේ ණය මෙච්චර ප්‍රමාණයක් කපනවා මේ කරන කැපකිරීමට. මොකද්ද මේක? ජනාධිපතිතුමා 18 වෙනිදා යනවා නොබැඳි රටවල් වල.
The president will be flying on the 18th to attend the summit of non-aligned nations. What is the non-aligned policy of Sri Lanka? Why are we US allies? If we are deploying vessels to combat Houthis at the behest of the US and Israel, why is he even travelling to that summit?
අපේ රාජ්‍ය නායකෝ මේක ඇමරිකාවේ ප්‍රශ්නයක්වත් ඊශ්‍රායලයේ ප්‍රශ්නයක්වත් නෙවෙයි. රතු මුහුදේ ආරක්ෂක තත්ත්වය.
This is neither a war of the US nor Israel. The security of the Red Sea affects Sri Lanka directly. Cost of goods will increase if vessels don't travel through the Red Sea and instead opt to sail through Africa. That matter will affect our economy. We detest all types of terrorists. We have a global responsibility. We expect assistance from the world. In turn, we will have to fulfill our duties as well. India launched a rocket to space. There are 800 million people in India who are more destitute than the most impoverished person in Sri Lanka. No one in India says only focus on internal matters. On the other hand, we are not bearing an extraordinary cost for this. Even at present, we have vessels in the deep sea. The Navy and Sri Lankan citizens have a collective responsibility towards the safety of this region. We need to understand that. Bankrupt Sri Lanka is being compared to India with a rapid development rate. He said India launched a rocket. Likewise, the Rajapaksas bankrupt this country by launching rockets. America has the 6th fleet and the 7th fleet. They have the naval might. They are the best fit for this. Why are we joining those? We do not condone this act carried out by a handful of powerful nations promoting neo-imperialism. When the Middle East is driving itself towards a fireball of chaos, we have also been made a part of it. I don't know what sort of future our country will face through the stance our president is taking.
The Criminal Investigations Department recorded a statement from the Assistant Director of Medical Supplies Division, Devashanti Solomon, who is currently in remand custody. The police said that the statement was recorded yesterday at the premises of the prison based on a court order.
The police confirmed that a statement was recorded over the fake immunoglobulin scam. Officials of the Medical Supplies Division, including the Assistant Director, were arrested in connection to the scam on the 20th of November last year. The Criminal Investigations Department said that they have still not received the files from the Ministry of Health that were sent to the government analyst. The documents from the Ministry of Health were seized when the Criminal Investigations Department had searched the office of the Additional Secretary of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Saman Ratnayaka. Meanwhile, the Society of Government Pharmacists made another revelation regarding the fake immunoglobulin scam.
After the scam came into the limelight, the owner of the Isoles Biotech, the first accused, he says that they produced this because the minister asked them to. He writes to the Secretary to the Ministry of Health and the Deputy Director General of Medical Supplies Division. This 7th point states that he got this waiver of registration at the minister's office from the minister himself. He is saying that the waiver of registration was given at the office of the minister. We are still confused as to why they are beating around the bush with this. They can summon him, question him and arrest him. The Secretary to the Ministry of Health says that he worked under the instructions of the Minister of Health. The Deputy Director of the Medical Supplies Division, the Director and other officials who were arrested are saying that it was the Minister and the Secretary who gave us these instructions. How can people who committed crimes like this roam free just because they hold office as a cabinet minister and maintain close relationships with politicians?
Meanwhile, the protest was staged opposite the Ministry of Health today, demanding the arrest of Minister of Health Kehlia Rambukwella. Representatives of trade unions, civil organizations and mass organizations took part in the protest.
It's been 100 days since the first complaint regarding this scam was lodged. Even after 100 days, no big players were nabbed. Only small-time players were arrested. This is where justice must be done. This is something that led to genocide. Everyone whose actions led to this genocide must be arrested. They must be questioned before the law. 7 suspects have been arrested for the damage caused to the general public through the free healthcare system. The Minister of Health is still roaming free. Tell us the reason why Kehlia Rambukwella is not being arrested.
Meanwhile, the All Ceylon Medical Officers Association handed over a letter to the Minister of Public Security calling for the arrest of former Minister of Health Kehlia Rambukwella.
Kehlia Rambukwella has not yet been arrested. How can the former Health Minister Kehlia Rambukwella still not be a suspect in this case? Why is he not being arrested?
දැන් ප්‍රශ්න තියෙන්නේ මේ රටේ අධිකරණ පද්ධතියට
Now the problem is, this is an attempt to add unnecessary pressure to the judicial system of this country. We have an excellent judicial system and they act according to evidence and rules and regulations. I believe that they are trying to impede this judicial process. It is a very dangerous situation if they are trying to decide the issues of this country using the law of the street.
In a surprise move, Badula District Parliamentarian Chaminda Vijayasiri from the Samagijana Balavegia tendered his resignation, effectively vacating his seat in the 9th Parliament of Sri Lanka. Vijayasiri announced his decision in the Well of Parliament today.
දැන් මේ පෞගිය දිනක මේ හරියේ දේවන්නාවේ කිමුලෙක් ගොඩ වෙලා තිබ්බා. මමත් දන්නේ නැතුව ගෙදර ගිහලා එබිකම් කරා. හැබැයි ජනතාව එතන ඒ කිමුලා ඇහෙන්නේ නැහැ, තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ. කිව්වේ මොකක්ද?
Recently there was a crocodile in Devanna Oya. I too had a look at it. Though I did not hear or understand what was said, the people said that all 225 MPs should be devoured by it. I was listening to these comments. I started from the Pradeshi Sabha in 2006 and then made it to the Urban Council and then the Parliament. I believe that when I entered Parliament, I would have a V8. But I have no such V8. The situation in the country is that the people are even cursing my children and the children of every single MP. We may have made mistakes. However, I personally feel the need to evaluate if I am to remain patient in the wake of these situations and continue on this political journey. Speaker, I have tendered my letter of resignation to step down as an MP of the 9th Parliament. I have submitted that letter to the General Secretary. I respectfully request that you accept it. The manner in which I speak here today and the conduct of the MPs in the ruling faction is being recorded. It includes everything that is spoken. You have mentioned that only when comments are made to the mic, they can be included in the Hansard. However, there are instances where comments not made by us to the mic are included in the Hansard. That is a very serious issue, and the Hansard is a legally binding document. There are instances where matters were not included. These are serious issues that we had to face in the recent past. I decided to think about my children and save them from the curse of the people. In addition, the faith in this house is shattered. On the other hand, there is pressure building that this parliament does not have a mandate, and I pray that a proper program with a proper mandate should be created. With that, I hope to bid farewell to this house. Let's call for a new parliament and fresh elections. By holding fair elections, we ensure the people's voice is heard and their choice for political leadership is respected. With that, I hope to bid farewell to this house. Let's call for a new parliament and fresh elections. By holding fair elections, we ensure the people's voice is heard and their choice for political leadership is respected. Leader Sajid Premadasa should have helped like a father. Many portrayed characters in this political stage. He worked through many issues to act as the father of the children of this country. He held children and gave kisses, but the children were not considered. But you have shown that program in this society that you can become a father to my 3 children as well. You are a leader who cares for his children. Therefore, I have great confidence that you will take care of the future children of this country and our children.
පීතෘත්වයේ ලබාගත් පියෙක් හැටියට තමන්ගේ දරු සුරතා බලන නායකයෙක්. ඒ නිසා මට ලොකු විශ්වාසයක් තියෙනවා ඔබතුමා මේ රටේ අනාගතයේ දරුවෝ අපේ දරුවෝ බලාගනී කියලා.
Secretary General of Parliament Kushani Rohanadira today notified the Election Commission of a vacancy in the Batula district seat arising from the resignation of Chaminda Vijayasiri. Therefore, Nayana Vasalathilaka, who secured the next highest number of preferential votes on the Samagi Janabalavege list for the Batula district in the 2020 general election, is eligible to fill the vacant seat left by Chaminda Vijayasiri's resignation. Batula district secretary Prabhata Besari Bodhana confirmed that Vasalathilaka's nomination will be submitted to the Election Commission tomorrow, officially requesting the vacancy be filled by him. Vasalathilaka, the party's Haputale electorate organizer, secured 31,307 preferential votes in the last general election. Meanwhile, following his resignation from Parliament earlier today, Chaminda Vijayasiri called a press conference this afternoon.
ඊට පස්සේ ඒ පුරප්පාඩුවෙන් ඉන්නේ කෝටිපති ව්‍යාපාරිකයෙක්. දැන් එතකොට ඒ ව්‍යාපාරිකත් එක්ක පක්ෂ නායකත්වයේ සහ ඥාතිකමකුත් ඉන්නවා කියලා ආරංචියක් තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේම තමයි තව ආරංචියක් කරනවා ඔබතුමා මේ මන්ත්‍රී ධූරය මන්ත්‍රී ආසනේ විකුණනවා කියලා. මිලියන 900ක් වගේ ගානකට. මේ කතාව මොකක්ද?
මගේ තාත්තා විශාල කෝටිපතියෙක්. මගේ තාත්තා
My father bought me a bicycle worth 450,000 rupees according to the value at that time after I completed all my secondary education. When I passed, I was given a racing car called Citroen. I come to Parliament in my father's V8. Even today my father has money. If it was down to money, if it was down to positions, I could have sold for more money than you said. During the 52-day government, my fellow MPs know the amount of bags of money brought to us. Not only that, when governments changed in the past, when there were various proposals to form those governments, some people talked about positions and money. So I think this is the reality. We try to say different things when we stand up for the truth. He is a good millionaire, he is a good businessman, a person who was in higher grades than me in my school. I know that Australia is represented. MP Vadivel Suresh and MP Aravind Kumar have filed a case. If their MP positions are revoked, it will be he who will be appointed. Therefore, I think that if someone tries to say that I made my political decision for money, positions or other matters, it is ridiculous. I am the son of a businessman called Lionel Vijayasiri. If I thought about money and positions, I could have been in politics. Find out who is saying these and come to the media and reveal them. I am ready to take legal action against them. That's why I'm not going to answer what each fake Facebook post says. If someone says that, I think they should leave it. But even if that person is going to pay money to become a member of parliament, I think the citizens of this country should also think about his politics.
සල්ලි දීලා මට මන්ත්‍රී ධූරය ගන්න යනවා නම් මම හිතනවා ඔහුගේ දේශපාලන පිළිබඳවත් රටේ පුරවැසියෝ හිතන්න ඕනේ කියලා මම හිතනවා.
ඔබතුමාට පක්ෂාපත්තෙන් බලවේගයක් ආවේ අර ව්‍යාපාරිකයා ඒක පොඩි අවුලක්වත් තුනේ නැහැ
නෑ සජිත් ප්‍රේමදාස මහත්තයාගේ නෝනාගේ සහෝදරයෙක්.
No, it is said that he is a brother of Sajit Premadasa's wife. We did the election together. He spent money for victory in those elections. He gives money to the party and protects the party. He engaged in the party program. Therefore, it is his job. I think we know that they give great support not only to the politics of the senior leadership of the party, but also to their personal lives. Therefore, I do not think that there is a need for me to betray the mandate given by the people with such a purpose. You should especially ask him if he paid me money to become the MP.
එතුමාගෙන් අහන්න ඕනේ එතුමා මන්ත්‍රී ධූරය ගත්තේ මට සල්ලි දීලා කියලා.
Another 950 suspects have been arrested during the Operation Yuktiya, that was during the 24-hour operation that ended at 12:30 this morning. Now, further investigations are to be conducted on detention orders regarding 42 arrested suspects.
68 suspects who were arrested within the past 24 hours in the nationwide crackdown on drugs and crimes, codenamed Operation Yuktiya, were part of the police watch list. Investigations were launched for 4 suspects for claiming of illegal assets. 28 individuals were identified for rehabilitation. The operation also yielded significant results in the fight against drug trafficking. Security forces successfully seized 296 grams of heroin and 194 grams of ice or crystal meth. Investigations took place in the Maradana region under the Yukti operation. Investigations also took place on buses travelling long distances at Wennapur between 8 to 10 pm. A youth along with 10 milligrams of heroin was taken into custody. Investigations took place in buses and passengers in the Ganegama Palmadula region.
When this is being done, passengers change their seat from time to time. Several buses are being used when you travel from one province to another. That is why we have initiated this. Therefore, we need your support too.
The police and police special task force conducted investigations on buses travelling long distances in the Bata-Atha region in Hungama. Investigations were also conducted on buses travelling long distances in Kalwanchikudi Batiklo. Investigations were also conducted at the main bus station in Jaffna, while passengers and drivers were also advised by officers.
Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna parliamentarian Rohitha Abegunawardena commented on the operation Yuktiya in Parliament today.
The acting IGP, Deshapandu Tennakone, has implemented this operation. The number of burglaries have reduced. The number of thefts reported have been reduced. I would like to tell the Minister and the IGP to continue this operation, implement this decision. I would also like to tell the government to remove the term acting. Why was he appointed the acting IGP when he could have been appointed the IGP? Also, there is a practice in our country that we appoint a president every 5 years. Sri Lanka police needs a proper police officer. So the government must make a decision without any fear to appoint one officer as the IGP for 5, 6, 7 or 8 years straight. Then that officer can conduct an operation of this nature. He can make a plan.
Senior DIG Lalit Patinaika has been released from the charges for the Easter Sunday attacks after an investigation by the 3-judge panel appointed by the National Police Commission of Sri Lanka. The police headquarters was informed on the 14th of December by the National Police Commission in writing with regards to the release of Senior DIG Lalit Patinaika. Copies of the related report was also forwarded to the Secretary of the Ministry of Public Security. In more news, world crude oil prices have decreased slightly compared to yesterday.
The price of a barrel of crude oil in the British Brent market was recorded at $76.25, while in the American market the same barrel was valued at $70.69 today.
French President Emmanuel Macron appointed 34-year-old Education Minister Gabriel Attal as his new Prime Minister, seeking to breathe new life into his second mandate ahead of the European Parliament elections. Attal will be France's youngest Prime Minister.
The move will not necessarily lead to any major political shift, but signals a desire for Macron to try to move beyond last year's unpopular pension and immigration reforms and improve his centrist party's chances in the June EU ballot. According to foreign media, opinion polls show Macron's camp trailing far-right leader Marine Le Pen's party by around 8 to 10 percentage points. Attal, a close Macron ally who became a household name as government spokesman during the COVID pandemic, will replace outgoing Prime Minister Elizabeth Borne. One of the country's most popular politicians in recent opinion polls, Attal has made a name for himself as a savvy minister at ease on radio shows and in parliament.
The Maldives is facing a boycott from one of its biggest sources of tourism income after 3 of its deputy ministers mocked India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, sparking calls from Indian citizens and celebrities to shun the sun-kissed gateway for domestic beaches instead.
The controversy erupted after Modi posted images to social platform X of himself snorkeling and walking along a beach in Lakshadweep, a southern Indian island chain in the Lakshadweep Sea off the coast of Kerala. Modi did not mention India's picturesque neighbour Maldives in his post, but his effusive praise of the beautiful scenery of the lesser-known archipelago may have been seen as a charm offensive to draw people there for vacation rather than the Maldives. 3 Maldives officials responded to his post, describing Modi as a clown, terrorist and a puppet of Israel. The Maldives government moved quickly to distance itself from their comments, suspending the 3 officials, deputy ministers with the Ministry of Youth Employment, Information and Arts. The incident comes at a sensitive time as Maldives President Mohamed Muizzu embarks on a 5-day visit to China, his first as president following his election win last October.
And that's a wrap of Primetime News on TV1 for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.